So we're going to demonstrate the bowline, or it's normally pronounced bowline knot, which is the most useful knot that you will ever use on a boat, or probably in most areas of life, whether you're towing a car or anything else. All right, so I'm going to demonstrate how you actually do it, and then we'll break it down into its component parts. Then I'll do some fault finding, because there are many ways to try to do this knot and it just won't work. So we'll get into those. And then I'll show you actually some practical applications of how to tie stuff with the bowline knot, okay? So let's start with its component parts. This is the standard end. This is the bit that's perhaps attached to the dinghy or the sail or the winch or something that is what you're actually trying to secure. And then this is the bit we're working with, the running end, okay? So here's how it works. We cross over the standard end. We pull up and make a loop. The running end comes up and round the back, comes back down through the loop you just made. We start to tie it like this, and then once the knot is formed, we pull it tight here in the loop, because that's the bit that will actually be under the load, and you pull the whole knot tight. So that's what it looks like. I'll show you how we break it. You can't undo a bowline if it's under load, just like you can't tie a bowline if it's under load. But you break the back and it should pull apart nice and neatly like that. So that's how you do it. Let's break it down. So for me, I've been tying this knot since I was 17 years old. I always tie it the same way. I have muscle memory. I always come from the left, around whatever I'm going around, and I come up to the right, because the crucial bit of this bit knot, the bit that everyone struggles with, is this loop. It has to be the same way every time, and I always make it the same way every time by crossing the rope over, coming up and over, and then going on from there. The other way I form this loop correctly, especially if it's a larger rope, is I take my right hand, I grasp the rope this way, and I flip it over, and I will always have the right orientation of this knot, of this loop. And I'll show you in a minute what happens when that goes wrong, and then you complete the knot from there, okay? There's another way you can do it, which is to hold this in your fingertips, lay it over, come up, and again, this part of the loop will be correctly formed, and you go on round to make the knot, okay? Let me show you what happens if we get this bit wrong, okay? So if I go the wrong way, let's start with this as an example. I come through, I've got nowhere to go here, nowhere to go. Let's try it another way. If I didn't go that way, if I go this way, all right? This is a good one. You'll encounter this when you try and do this knot. So I've now got this the wrong way round. Watch this. I come through, I come round the back. It's looking good at this point. It's looking promising, but guess what? Nope, it's not. And this is where it will be initially very frustrating for you as you learn this knot. And that's why, as I say, I always encourage you to absolutely have the same orientation every time. For me, I come from the left and I work that way. That way I always know I'm going to get this bit right. Straight up and over, round and down. Oops. There's a good one. And then, as I said, with the bigger ropes, especially if I'm in a hurry, I come over, bang, 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 and there it is, okay? So let's show you now how to actually secure some things using the bowline knot. So in this section, we'll show you how to actually tie some things, because when you practice doing this knot and you're holding it in the air, right, and you try and do your loop and am I going around this bit or is it that bit? Not sure what I'm doing. So it's so much easier if you tie something with the knot. In this case, a gib hook from a life-safe harness, a safety harness, but of course this could represent anything. This could represent perhaps a steel ring. on the dinghy dock, and you're going to tie up your dinghy to the dinghy dock, right? So we always keep in mind in this example, let's say it is the dinghy dock. The dinghy is there. This is the dinghy end of the rope, and this is the bit we're going to work with, okay? So remember what I said in the earlier part. I always come from the left and work round to the right. Come in from the left, as I'm looking at it. I come around, I can set this down, and we're done with that. And then it's the same thing every time. End of the rope flips over. Make the loop. Keep in mind the dinghy is still here, the dinghy's pulling. Can't tie this if we're under load. Come around the back, finish the knot, pull the knot tight, and then once the knot is formed, the real tight knot is formed on the bit that you're secured to. You see that? And now your dinghy is held tight. You can't break this knot if it's under load. It has to come off load for you to break it. And that's how that would work. Similarly, if we had some sort of cleat on the dock, okay, or on your boat, I always come, as I said, I always come around from the left. So let's say in this case we're tying, you know, we're going to tie a sheet, a barber hauler or something off on something on the boat, a boom preventer, maybe a boom preventer. Obviously we have the option, as this is a cleat, of going around and around, but for the purposes of this video, we'll assume we're just going to make a loop because we want to be able to pull it off, okay? So again, we come from the left, round to the right. So here it comes, from the left, whoops. So we'll always have the same orientation, so we're always going to get this bit right, okay? And it's always the same. I can come over with a full hand, pull and twist. That will be the correct knot, or the correct loop. Come under and around. The knot is formed. Pull it against what you're securing it to. So that was with the full hand technique. And then we'll do it with the flipping the bitter end technique, okay? Flip the bitter end, roll over, come around, back down, through, and secure. And as I said, I personally like the bitter end technique. It's the one that works best for me. And then the other thing we could do is we could pre-form our bowline. Pre-formed. We did this out on the boat. And then we're coming into the dock, and in this case my flashlight will represent some sort of bollard or something on the dock. It simply goes on and is held there. So that is how you use and apply a bowline. So in this scenario, work with me a little bit here. We're setting up, I'm going to show you how to dip the eye of your docking lines. So take the case, our model sailboat here is docked stern to. This is his stern line coming onto the dock around a cleat. And he's done a bowline, which looks very nice. This is our red boat, and he is about to come in, and he's going to dock too. And he's going to throw his stern line, and he's going to do what most people do. He's going to take his stern line ashore, and he's going to do the whole wrap it around the cleat thing, okay? Which is what you guys all do. I know you do, because I see you in the marinas, and it all looks like a big pile of mess like that. Now, this is all fine, except what happens when he wants to leave? Oh, he can't get off because your rope has jammed his on, all right? So, I'm going to show you the technique for dipping the eye. All this stuff on dock cleats, this is wrong. This is not what yachts do. This is not what commercial ships do. It looks like a mess. You usually end up with 6 feet of this laying across the dock or whatever you do, or you wrap it round and round and round. So let me show you how to dip the eye using 2 bowlines, and then you take up and you adjust your line on board your own boat. That way you have control of your own line. So for example, if you were coming in, let's say to a fuel dock or something, right? Well, there's usually a kid there who wants to take your lines, or you're coming into the marina, someone sees you coming and they're trying to be helpful to help you dock in a nice friendly way, that's great. If you just give them a bowline, you say, hey, put it on that cleat there, Put it on, boom, leave it alone. They don't do anything else because you don't know if the person you just passed it to knows what they're doing. You don't know if whoever is driving your boat still needs a little room to maneuver the boat and may need you to keep this line out of the water and under control, but not made off yet. And so it gives you multiple options. You control your own rope when you put the bowline on the cleat on the dock, okay? Now, let's show you how to actually dip the ice. So the next boat, the red boat, comes in. He wants to come in. This is his stern line. And being a good, considerate, seaman-like boater, he has also prepared a bowline in his stern line. I'm not demonstrating to you how to tie this when you already know how to tie it from earlier in the video. So here is his bowline, stern line, ready to go. And when he comes in, watch what he does. He dips under the eye of the boat that's already there, lays his on the bollard, pulls tight. He is now docked. Watch what happens. If this guy wants to leave, he can take his line off and leave. If you want to leave, you can take your line off and leave. So that is dipping the eye. Let me show you one more time. When somebody's already there, you come in with your bowline ready made. You come under his bowline, drop your line on the bollard or the cleat just like you normally would, pull it tight, and that is dipping the eye. So I hope you got great value out of that. I hope that in its own self will help give you more confidence when you're out there. Listen, all the information and my link to my online course is in the description to this video. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.